Alright guys, a lot of people in True Shot Lodge and hunters everywhere have been just asking what BM looks like, what the difference are from live. So I'm just going to go over the talents, the skills, and stuff. Since it's beta now, everything mechanically should be set in stone. There might be one or two minor changes. The big thing right now is going to be number tuning, and so mechanically there shouldn't be much of anything that changes. What you have now, talents and ability-wise, is pretty much going to stay there. So let me just go over a couple big changes. So first of all, pets. So on live we had ferocity, tenacity, cunning, and any pet could be any spec, right? So you could have a turtle and it could be tenacity, ferocity, whatever. Currently on beta, you have spec specific pets, and so this dog that I have out is only a ferocity pet. He can't be a tank pet. If you dismiss him, and I get this turtle out, he's only a tenacity pet. They don't give you an option to change. So that's one big thing. The next thing is the abilities that pets have. So for ferocity pets, you get this leech ability and you get heroism, right? So we get heroism baked into every ferocity pet, not just the 2 or 3 that you had to tame on live. So the thing with leech is that currently it's a little broken. Your pet gets this leech and it actually makes it tankier than the tenacity pet. Just because when it's dealing damage, it does so much damage that their pet actually heals up. Tenacity gives you increased maximum HP. It's a pretty significant. It's sort of like if you're to go from Belf to Torn, it gives you a decent chunk of HP. And it gives you this 3-minute cooldown, survival of the fittest, which just reduces damage you and your pet take by 30%, which is pretty handy. This is probably going to be the go-to Mythic Plus pet. All ferocity, tenacity, and cunning all do the same damage, so damage doesn't matter. It's just which ability they give you. Cunning is basically going to be the PvP. You move faster and you get a free movement and pairing break effect. Okay, so as far as abilities go, you have the same main basic abilities. It's BM on beta is basically like playing Dire Frenzy on live. It has the same basic feel. You have Dire Frenzy, you take it to 3 stacks. You still have Bestial Wrath, Aspect of the Wild, all that jazz. One of the major differences is that we will not, or I'll get to it later. Let me go over talents real quick. So currently we have in tier 1 Killer Instinct, Animal Companion, and Dire Beast. Killer Instinct is amazing. It is a much needed execute that we get. Deals increased damage below 35%. Animal Companion is basically Haiti baked in, right? So we got rid of Haiti, but this talent basically gives you Haiti. Currently, it only replicates your kill command, so it's only good in single target. Right now, it's going to be between these two based on tuning, but tuning's obviously going to change, hopefully, in the future. Dire Beast is now a talent instead of baseline, since Dire Frenzy is baseline. You now have a 15-second cooldown. You just send out your pet and it starts dealing damage. This ability is very undertuned right now on beta. It's good for like questing, just because obviously you can't have this ability right now, and Killer Instinct, just questing, you're not gonna deal that much damage to mobs below 35%. So questing, this is fine right now, but dungeons and single target, this ability is garbage. It's good if it costs 0 focus, or if it had a reduced cooldown or something, but the damage for this ability is not very good. Dire Stable, Dire Frenzy generates 8 focus per, so basically the same as it is on live. We don't really need this focus, just plain focus. If this did something else, increased our damage, gave us whatever, it'd be a little better, but just Dire Stable as it is only good with like heavy sustained AoE, which, let's be real, never happens. Even in dungeons you have burst AoE, that's not sustained AoE. So as it stands now, we will never take this. One with the pack, basically how it is, it's very similar to how it is on live. It's the same concept. Wild Call is a 20% chance to reset. It plays the exact same way. So because of this, we're gonna want a little bit more crit. And I'll talk about what I think stats are going to be here in a bit. But yeah, one with the pack. Chimera Shot is tuned a lot better than it is on live, on beta. Chimera Shot is actually very close single target with one with the pack. And obviously it's probably better pure 2 targets. So if you had like a 2 target council fight, Chimera would probably be a little bit better. The thing is that Chimera is so niche, right? 2 targets, and it's slightly worse single target, that we probably will never actually take this talent as it stands. And so currently one with the pack is the talent to go to. I really hope they change this and make it less niche. This last row, or this third row, is basically all utility. Trailblazer, I have that selected just because I was questing. You basically only use it for questing or like transmogs runs. Excuse me. Camouflage is, I think, should be baseline, honestly, because I mean, you never use this except for like maybe PvP. But even then, I would probably choose Natural Mending. Natural Mending is basically sort of like how Marksman on live has their, with the abilities they cast, it reduces their cooldown. This is not as good, but for every 30 focus you spend, you reduce exhilaration. So it's a nice little thing to get exhilaration up a little faster. Obviously better than these two because they don't do anything for you defensively. Venomous Bite is actually hot garbage the way it is. It's a really cool concept, the idea to have Bestial Wrath come up off cooldown more often, but only reducing by 1 second. For every Bestial Wrath cycle, you get maybe 7 seconds off, which is what, one extra Dire Frenzy every Bestial Wrath cycle. I would much rather have the other 2 options. Thrill of the Hunt's actually not working currently on beta. It only works with Dire Beast, which I do not think is intended. I don't know why they would have Thrill of the Hunt not work with your baseline ability, Dire Frenzy, or Barb Shot rather, I'm sorry. But so every time you cast Dire Frenzy, your critical strike chance stacks up to 3% for 8 seconds. So since it's 8 seconds, your Dire Frenzy attacks, your Barb Shot, attack speed buff is also 8 seconds. Basically, every time you get a stack of the Dire Frenzy speed buff, you're also going to get 3% crit in addition to that, which the crit is amazing with one with a pack and Stomp, and they synergize really well. So this is this is the best setup for single target right now. Thrill of the Hunt's amazing if it were to work. Currently, people are taking a Murder of Crows just because Thrill of the Hunt's not working. A Murder of Crows actually does very similar target or single target damage to Thrill of the Hunt based on sims, but as soon as you introduce more targets, AoE, anything AoE, add spawns, Thrill of the Hunt gets better just because a Murder of Crows is single target. And with the GCD changes, a Murder of Crows, I mean, it was already on the GCD, but a Murder of Crows is a lot more aids with all the extra GCDs that we have to deal with between a Murder of Crows, Bestial Wrath, Aspect of the Wild, etc. And so having something that's purely passive is a lot easier to deal with. All of these, Born to be Wild, you probably will never use. There might be a niche like, I don't know, maybe Fallen Avatar where you have to soak, use Turtle to soak. You might want this. Post Haste is going to be the go-to in Rage probably. And Binding Shot, same thing. It's probably going to be good to go-to in Dungeons. So it's going to be between these two, which you pick, utility-wise. Second to last row, Stomp is currently the best single target right now. And that's without Thrill of the Hunt working. Stomp synergizes very well with Thrill of the Hunt and one with a pack. The higher crit, the more Dire Frenzies you get, the more Stomps you send out, obviously. Stomp works the exact same as it does on live. Does AoE damage in a 8-yard radius, I want to say. Barrage, exactly how it is on live. It's scaled better in beta. Barrage and Stomp do very similar damage AoE. So when you're doing dungeons, I think Barrage is actually slightly better just because of the spread cleave. But in raid scenario, I would probably do Stomp. Stampede, exact same as it is on live. It's scaled awfully. The 3-minute cooldown, the long cooldown does not do enough damage. It's very good burst damage initially, and that's it. The damage it does is not worth the 3-minute cooldown. I have a ton of suggestions. You know, maybe I think they should just make Stampede baseline, honestly. But you know, if they were to keep it a talent, maybe a 2-minute cooldown, or just scale the damage up. You know, whatever. There's a bunch of stuff they could do to it, but right now it's just hot garbage. Currently, the best is Aspect of the Beast. It's just passive pet increase now, and all of those special abilities, the Ferocity, Tenacity, and Cunning abilities, are now buffed. And so Ferocity increases the leech, endurance training increases the HP you get, etc. Killer Cobra. So one of the big things they did is to Cobra Shot. They made it reduce the cooldown of Kill Command by 1 second. And so this plays very similar to how the legendary boots play on live. And so I'll show you the rotation here in a second, but because of this change, the reduced cooldown to Kill Command, that renders Killer Cobra useless. I mean, why would you have this where you're resetting Kill Command during Bestial Wrath, which is probably 40%, 50%, probably closer to 40% of your uptime right now. And why would you have this when... So this new trait, right, the reducing Kill Command by 1 second, is basically wasted 40% of the time when you take this talent. And it's just not worth it. Spitting Cobra right now is also off. Like, the damage it does is garbage for its 1.5 minute cooldown. I would much rather have passive 30% damage from your pet, 30% pet abilities rather, which is a large portion of your pet damage. It's not, I think it's probably 10 or 15 increased pet damage or something like that. But yeah, Spitting Cobra is garbage, but you select, it's basically you just summon a snake and it just deals damage. Sort of like the Neuraxis Trinket, if you've ever on live. There are some range issues with this talent. So if you use this at like far range, it actually won't damage your ability. You have to use it within 25 yards, which is another thing why this is not that good of a talent. All right, so let me get into rotation. I'll show you the base rotation with this, and then I'll sort of talk about it and then show it to you in a dummy. Okay, so like I said, Cobra reduces Kill Command by 1 second. Dire Frenzy, or I'm sorry, Barb Shot. Okay, let me explain Barb Shot because it's very complicated. The tooltip here is actually wrong. Barb Shot is now fourfold. There's 4 things that it does. So it's exactly like the old Dire Frenzy, right? So when you hit it, you have an initial 5 strikes that your pet does, a flurry of 5 strikes, and it also increases your pet's attack speed by 30%. It also, you as a hunter fire a Barb Shot, which applies an initial bleed or initial damage. So initial damage for 1,039 damage, and it applies a bleed for 8 seconds. So it does 4 different things. So this is a very crucial part of the rotation, all baked into one little ability. So currently on beta, the bleed is not actually working. Like it's just not taking effect. All of the other things are working. The tooltip does not say anything about the 5 flurries, the initial damage, but it is happening. You can see it from the pet, and I've confirmed with the dev that it is intended that the flurries are there. It's just not correct on the tooltip. Bestial Wrath, the only thing that changed about this is the exact same. The only thing that changed is that it's now on the GCD, which is mega AIDS, but we'll deal with it. Misdirection the same. Kill Command is the exact same. Multi-shot, exact same. Murder of Crows, exact same. Aspect of the Wild. So since the GCD change, they did modify Aspect of the Wild, and they made it 20 seconds instead of 15 seconds, which is very good because we'll probably be using Aspect of the Wild, since it's not that good of a cooldown, prior to Bestial Wrath, and you'll actually be wasting some of this. But because they extended it, it's going to feel very similar to the rotation on live. Disengage, exhilaration. So exhilaration and disengage are not on the GCD. So you can use that. You can use those outside of, or they're not on the GCD. Feign Death, same thing. Aspect of the Turtle, same thing. Currently on beta, I don't know if it's going to be a thing, but they don't have Cancel Aura working. And so you can't actually, so I have my macro, I have Turtle Cancel Aura right here. I can't Cancel Aura with Turtle. I have to manually click it off, or, yeah, so I don't hope that's not intended, but that's how it is right now. Alright, so the basic rotation is very, very similar to live. The only difference is that instead of having, Killer Cobra, obviously, you're going to play it similar. It's like Dire Frenzy build crossed with Boots, Aspect of the Beast Boots build. And so you're going to open up with a Murder of Crows, Aspect of the Wild, Bestial Wrath, Kill Command, Dire Frenzy, 1, 2 Cobra shots, and your Kill Command will be back up. Dire Frenzy, 1, 2 Cobra shots, Kill Command's back up, 1, 2, Dire Frenzy, Kill Command, etc. And then you wait. Then you just regen energy. You don't want to cap. Kill Command off cooldown. You want to try and get as many stacks as possible here. Bestial Wrath, Kill Command, 1, 2, Kill Command, Dire Frenzy, Cobra, Cobra, Kill Command, Cobra, Dire Frenzy, Cobra, Kill Command. And that's it. That's the rotation currently. And then you just, just wait. Crows when it's off. And that's it. Aspect of the Wild still does reduce your GCDs, which is one reason you cast it prior to Bestial Wrath and not after Bestial Wrath. Let me see. What are some stuff that changes with this? So Dire Beast. I'll show you all what Dire Beast looks like. Dire Beast, you literally just, it's literally how it is on live. It doesn't do that much damage. You just send out a Dire Beast every 4 seconds, and it costs 35 focus. So it's like I said, it's not really good, a good talent in my opinion. Chimera Shot. Chimera Shot is pretty good, but like I said, it's very niche. So this is basically how it is on live. What else has changed? Oh, let me show you Venomous Bite. Let's see. Okay, so Venomous Bite. Okay, so same thing. You open up Aspect, Bestial Wrath, Kill Command, Dire Frenzy. One thing you do want to do, so before you wanted to, the goal was to Bestial Wrath, like close to max focus. Because it's on the GCD now, you actually want to hit Bestial Wrath when you're at like 90% focus. Just because it takes an entire second to activate. So as you can see, Venomous Bite, you can't even tell the difference, honestly. You get, it's, especially since you have so much crit, that like you just can't tell the difference. Like I could have the same DPS with or without Venomous Bite as long as I just get an extra DF crit, or a Barb Shot crit rather, I'm sorry. So yeah, I mean it's just really bad talent in general. Let's see, Thrill the Hunt, like I said, it's not working unless you have Dire Beast. So let me show you So here's Thrill of the Hunt, but it only works when you cast Dire Beast, which I think that's just a programming error because it says Dire Beast, or I'm sorry, when you don't have it activated, when you don't have Dire Beast activated, rather. Okay. When you don't have Dire Beast activated, it says Dire Frenzy, and so it should work with Dire Frenzy. I think that's just bugged currently, and I've submitted bugs. Stomps, same thing. Stampede, and then Spitting Cobra. Let me just show you Spitting Cobra. I don't even know where to put it. Okay, here. Alright, so all it is you literally just summon a snake, and it just does damage. You do get focus while it's active, generating 2 additional focus every second. You really can't tell the focus, like the additional focus. It's really not that big of a deal. And the other thing that sucks about this ability is that it's a 1.5 minute cooldown, and none of our abilities are 1.5 minutes. You have Aspect of the Wild, which is 2 minutes, and Bestial Wrath, which is every 40 seconds, and so it doesn't line up with anything. So you're basically going to be holding this, or you're probably never going to hold Bestial Wrath, but you're going to be holding this for your next Bestial Wrath, and it's just not that good. So yeah, I mean, that's BM in a nutshell. AoE, like I said, Stomp and Barrage, you're probably dungeons, you might take Barrage and just use off cooldown. Stomp is just passive. AoE, all we have is just multi-shotting. You literally just, I don't think there are any AoE dummies. But I mean, you literally just attack, multi-shot. You want to try and maintain your 3 stacks, like on live. Maintain Beast Cleave right here. It is a lot harder to maintain 3 stacks on beta, which sort of sucks, and that means BM's AoE is going to be pretty bad. Initially, it's actually not that bad in dungeons. So I've ran a couple dungeons as BM and Marksman, and BM's actually not that bad currently in dungeons. Oh, the other thing I should mention, pet scaling is one of the big things they changed. I don't know how many people have read, MMO Champs, all the numbers and stuff that they add. So previously, pets did not scale off of attack damage at all. So now, one of the things they changed in hopes of helping pet scaling with Beastmasters, Unholy DKs, etc. Pets scale off of 60% of your attack damage. And so that should help BM Hunters a ton, especially with like weapon eye level and stuff like that. And so supposedly, I think I was talking to Nohep, and one of the things that they're going to change is that Guardians as well also scale like this. So like Spitting Cobra is a Guardian. It's not an actual pet, but they also have the same scale factor. And so Spitting Cobra, Dire Beast, stuff like this should also scale off of your attack damage. Whether this will actually make these talents better, you'll have to wait and see based on tuning and stuff. I couldn't tell you, but right now they're garbage. So I would stay away from them currently. Again, numbers, how it's doing currently, I will probably release another video or say something in Discord about, when the final patch is released, I'll probably have sims or something to show y'all. But right now, it's just way too early to tell you what damage-wise what's better. Right now, this video is just to show you mechanically how it looks and how BM is playing. And I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys.